Along the same lines, do you get any pushback when you recommend more strength training for the endurance athlete than they have done in the past?
Yeah, I have. And I think I've seen that both on the rehabilitation side and the coaching side. Because if I'm working with them from a PT side of things, like strength training is definitely what we're implementing to get them back to running. Um, and I've gotten the like, what if I don't want to get bulky and I don't want to, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. I was like, you're not training in that way. I'm not programming you to get that type of muscle, and you need to eat differently to have all these things happen. Um, but I tell them, like, even if if you've never strength trained, even doing some band work and body weight stuff initially for the first, 4 to 5 weeks, that's still going to elicit a change for you because it's more than your baseline. And then they're like, oh, like it's more just like I keep like turning on light bulbs. I feel like that's been a lot of what I do, just educating them on these simple changes that they can make to make their running better and feel better. And then, yeah, once that gets really easy, yes, you have to add some sort of weight to create a stimulus change. But to start off, you don't have to do that much, and you don't have to do it 5 days a week. Two to three, if you're in your off season, great.
Does the conversation change at all if when we're talking about a recreational endurance athlete or somebody who's just starting and a more competitive athlete? I guess, what are the challenges between the two?
The beginner or the more recreational runner, I think it's getting them on board to invest in themselves a little bit more, even though they're like, oh, I'm not trying to PR, I'm not trying to win. It's like, yes, but you're still trying to have a consistent routine of running. So if you want to be able to do this for the next 20 years, regardless if you want to get faster or anything, like keeping your muscles and joints healthy and strong is going to allow you to do that. I don't care if you're not the fastest person. That's not the point, and that's not your goal. Your goal is to be able to run 3 miles without walking. Great. You still need to strength train, So I think it's getting them to understand that what they're doing is still really important, even if they're not, trying to BQ or come in, first in their age group. As compared to a competitive athlete, I think they're obviously trying to get better in a different way. They might be trying to win or PR, but they likely have a bit more experience, which can sometimes come with bad training habits, or they're kind of stuck in their ways. So you have to kind of determine, like, are they ready to be coached? Are they ready to change those habits? So you kind of have to, dance around a little bit and kind of meet them where they're at. Because if they're not ready to change and you just start throwing these things like, oh, I know this is going to get you faster, they're not really going to pick up on that. Kind of how it is with PT. If we just throw all these things, oh, this will make you better, but they're not ready to change some of those activity modifications, that change isn't going to happen.
Yeah, we've talked about flipping people's worlds upside down on this show and like changing everything all at once. Even if, for the elite athlete, it's decrease your frequency, decrease some of your intensity on some of those days, just in some of those days, increase your strength training during certain periods of your training cycle, not all. You still, your training will look still specific at certain points of the year, but those are like each one of those things are big changes for somebody who's kind of been ingrained in their own, like you said, just quote unquote stuck in their ways. Do you prioritize kind of a starting place for somebody like that who you know is going to listen to you, they're hearing you, but maybe is not going to be just right off the bat willing to change it all. Do you say let's prioritize this first and see how that does, and then we can layer on this and this, even if this is not what you're saying, but in your mind that's kind of how you're tiering it?
Yeah. So most of the people I've coached have been local. The people that aren't local to me, I don't necessarily always have the opportunity to do a run evaluation, but majority of the people I've coached have been prior patients, or I have done run evaluations with them. So I kind of know and get a window into areas that they would best benefit from working on, whether it be drills or mobility or strengthening. So I kind of give them best bang for their buck. Like, all right, if this is all you're going to do, please just do these 3 exercises. You can do them as part of your warm-up. You can do them as part of your cool down. They can be part of your other workouts. Like, however you want to infuse them into your routine, go for it. And then it's just the ball is in their court. They know where I'm coming from of like what they need to prioritize. And it's up to them to make that happen. And then once I see that they're taking that on, then I know if I can put a little bit more in their bucket, if you will.
You just keep it easy at first. You know, and the education piece is interesting with competitive athletes, because sometimes they are a bit more hard-headed, but at the same time they also care, and they also care about some of the, I don't want to say the science, but kind of like you're able to explain things a little bit more to them, because they'll take it into account, like force strength training, for example. You know, if you're stronger, you can produce more force into the ground, which can help during certain points in your race, like these types of things. And that can make sense to somebody. So, you know, it's like you said, you just keep chipping away